G'day everyone, and welcome back to Unpopular Aussie Opinions, the channel where we tackle the tough takes on Australian sport that no one else dares to voice. I am your host, diving straight into the chaos that's engulfed our rugby world. If you have been living under a rock, Joe Schmidt, the Wallabies coach, has been shown the door after that gut-wrenching loss to France. It is the talk of the town, from the pubs in Sydney to the barbecues in Brisbane. But here's my unpopular opinion. Firing Schmidt is not just premature, it is Australia's biggest rugby blunder in years. Yes, you heard me right. Sack the bloke after one high-profile defeat? That is short-sighted, knee-jerk rubbish that will set us back even further. Stick around as I break it down, because this is going to ruffle some feathers. First off, let us rewind and remember who Joe Schmidt is. This is no rookie thrown into the deep end. Schmidt is a proven winner, mate. He turned Ireland into a powerhouse during his tenure there from 2013 to 2019. Under his watch, the Irish claimed 3 Six Nations titles, including a Grand Slam in 2018, and they even toppled the All Blacks, not once, but twice. That's the kind of pedigree we're talking about. When Rugby Australia lured him over in early 2024, it was seen as a masterstroke. A bloke with the tactical nous to rebuild our shattered Wallabies squad after the Eddie Jones debacle. Jones left us in tatters after that disastrous World Cup exit in 2023, remember? Schmidt stepped in with a plan. Focus on basics, build depth, and instill discipline. It wasn't going to be an overnight fix, but early signs were promising. Fast forward to this latest tour, and the wheels came off against France. Let's be honest, it was a shocker. The Wallabies went down 30-19 in Paris, with errors galore, a leaky defence, and an attack that looked as coordinated as a mob of kangaroos in traffic. France, under Fabien Galthié, and no slouches. They're a well-oiled machine with stars like Antoine Dupont pulling the strings. Our boys were out-muscled at the breakdown, out-thought in the set pieces, and frankly, outclassed. Schmidt himself admitted post-match that it was unacceptable, pointing to poor execution and mental lapses. The media piled on, fans erupted on social media, and Rugby Australia bosses hit the panic button. Within days, Schmidt was out. Official statements cited failure to meet performance expectations or some corporate drivel like that. But come on, is one loss, albeit a big one, enough to bin a coach of his calibre? Here's where my unpopular take kicks in. Sacking Schmidt is a symptom of our deeper problem in Australian rugby: impatience and a lack of vision. We Aussies love a quick fix, do we not? We sack coaches like we change prime ministers. Think about it. Since the 2015 World Cup final, we've cycled through Michael Cheika, Dave Rennie, Eddie Jones, and now Schmidt. That's 4 coaches in a decade, each with less time than the last to implement change. Schmidt had barely 18 months. In that time, he blooded young talent like Tom Hooper and Fraser McCreight, tightened our scrum, and even notched wins against Wales and Georgia. Sure, the Bloodies Cup remains elusive, and the Rugby Championship was a mixed bag, but Rome wasn't built in a day. Firing him now means starting from scratch again, with the 2027 World Cup on home soil looming. Who do we bring in next? Another overseas guru, or promote from within like Dan McKellar? Either way, it screams instability. Critics will say, but the France game exposed everything wrong with Schmidt's style. Too conservative, too structured, not enough flair. Fair point, but let's dissect that. Schmidt's Ireland was built on precision and phase play, not razzle-dazzle. Australian rugby has always thrived on offloads and running lines, the so-called Australian way. Schmidt was adapting that, blending it with his systems. Against France, injuries bit hard. No Angus Bell in the front row, no Rob Valentini marshalling the back row. Our depth is still paper thin, thanks to years of Super Rugby neglect and players jumping ship to Europe or Japan for bigger paychecks. Blame Schmidt for that? Hardly. Rugby Australia should look in the mirror. They've starved the domestic game, with crowds dwindling and broadcast deals under threat. Sacking the coach is a deflection, a way to appease the baying mob without addressing the rot. And let's talk about the France loss in context. It wasn't a thrashing, it was competitive until the final quarter. France scored 2 late tries off Wallabies' turnovers. Unforced errors, yes, but fixable with time. Schmidt's post-match analysis was spot on. Improve ball retention, shore up the line-out. He was already planning tweaks for the next fixtures against Ireland and Scotland. But no, we Aussies demand instant success. Remember how we hailed Schmidt after the July series wins over Wales? 1-2 a stumble, and he's out. Compare that to New Zealand. They stuck with Ian Foster through rough patches, and it paid off with a World Cup final in 2023. Patience breeds results. All right, folks, that's my rant. If you agree or think I'm off my rocker, drop a comment below. What's your take on Schmidt's sacking? Should we have given him more time? Hit that like button if you want more unpopular opinions, subscribe for the next video, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you next time on Unpopular Aussie Opinions. Take care.